There are thousands of DOS games. Most of them are terrible. I play one selected at random with a 20-minute time limit and record it live. This is the result. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another random DOS game show. And this is Grand Prix Circuit. Oh yes, you ready for some racing action? Listen to that beautiful theme that I'm talking over the top of. And this is why I'm excited, because it's distinctive software and it's designed by Brad Gore and Don Matrick, which automatically means that this is a great game. Because, of course, as you know, this company did stunts, it did test drive. Yeah, we're in for a good time. And I've already played a very similar game on the same sort of engine called The Cycles, and it went a full 20. So let's enter our name. I am Lawnie, and we're going to turn the difficulty level up 1 from beginner, because beginner is essentially, we're going to drive the car for you. So, we have a choice between 3 things: very, very simple, easy to navigate menu with the arrow keys. We've got practice, we've got single race, or we have championship circuit. Nice little PC speaker theme. I'm often down on the PC speaker, but sometimes it can do things, just simple things, perfectly. So we'll hit practice, and we have a series of courses here that we can choose. All the Grand Prix circuits, you could say. Let's pick Britain, and then we have a choice of cars. So we got Ferrari, McLaren, Williams, because ultimately those are the only 3 teams that matter. Sorry, Benetton fans. Let's go Williams. They actually have different stats as well, that's cool. So you can modify the game somewhat. Now in practice mode, we are automatically, right off the bat, coming out of the start. Don't know why it took me so long to say that. And here's the first corner, let's mess that up. Start as we mean to go on. And you'll see a little bar there just above my wheel. I think if I go off the grass, onto the grass rather, that bar fills up. Now, I have noticed frame rate isn't quite as good as the Cycles, but that's to be expected because the Cycles came out after. This was the first racing game on this engine, I think. And you've got the little PC speaker purring away in the background. There is an Amiga version for Amiga fanatics who want better sound, but I think you sacrifice slightly in the gameplay department. So this is not a case of, oh, the Amiga was better. This came out on DOS originally, it was for DOS, and it shows. But yes, to have car handling, to have all the various stats, and to have a series of options in terms of, beginner, intermediate. Oh, look at that slaloming, let's get that right. Excellent. But to have it in 1988, superb. So there we go, we've practiced that track. So there's the fastest laps, I think. I'll be nowhere near those times. So let's move on to a single race. And let's do Britain again. And this is where it could all go wrong. We'll pick Williams again. I like the little animation of the Williams coming out. As the kids would say these days, it's very aesthetic. So we've got qualifiers. So that means we're going to race around the empty track, a single lap, to determine whereabouts we're going to end up in the starting ranks for the race. Now you'll see the issue that some may have with Grand Prix Circuit soon. I think a problem with a lot of DOS games is people sort of lionize them and nostalgia kicks in and they're like, oh my god, look at all these great things that this DOS title did back in the day. Look at what it codified, look at what it made. And then they don't actually play the DOS game. They're like, it's nah, not what I remember it being, or it just doesn't hold up. In this case, let's be honest, there are certain Grand Prix games that came shortly after this one that beat it into oblivion. And, okay, maybe some people won't like that, some Accolade fans, but there was a certain Jeff Crammond, as we know, came along and revolutionized Formula One gaming. And there was also a certain Papyrus software, the other side of the ocean. So there we go. We have qualified quite handily in 7th position. I mean, we're no match against Don Matrelli, but hey, we'll have to do. And I don't think those are the real names. Nigel Levins? No. There was a certain Nigel who was good at Formula One, but it was not Mr. Levins, that's for sure. Wait till you see somebody will come to Wikipedia and be like, Lawnie, Nigel Levins, esteemed Formula One expert. How dare you impugn his name? So, you can see the issue that you might have, and that's one of depth perception. Because these Formula One cars are 2D in front of you, it's a sort of wing commander effect, isn't it? You know, where everything else feels like it has a depth to it, but the actual models don't. And you have to be very careful not to run into the back of anybody. And that makes overtaking difficult. You know, because it's difficult to judge where they're going to go, what they're going to do. There we go, we got some open road ahead of them. And this is something I do in Formula One simulations. When it comes to cornering, I look at the AI and I'm like, right, are they about to slow down because, oh, there's a corner coming up? Okay, I'm going to speed up or remain the same speed and take advantage of that, mercilessly. So because this is on beginner, I think it probably also affects the AI, because they don't seem to be up to much in terms of their ability. I mean, I could probably, if I made a concerted effort, you know, pass these two ahead of me. In fact, I'll pass him. I'm heading up to a straight here, which you can see in the little mini-map. And I'll pass him as well, and then I might suffer for it with this corner. No, I got away with it. That's good. So, position 3rd, lap 2 of 3. So, respectable. Not incredible. But there's still time. There's still laps. And because it's so simple, you know, the beginner mode, it's just the arrow keys. You don't need to worry about anything else. And the control system that they had already figured this all out. The little dot in front of the wheel shows you exactly how much you're turning. And there's a little gear stick that pops up in the bottom right hand corner when you shift gear, so you can see which gear you're in. I mean, it's just so simple. But if, you know, I might be wrong, but I think it was Accolade who came along and said, hey, we're going to do things this way. So the other great game that I haven't actually played on this channel, I don't think, is there's an IndyCar one. It's not IndyCar Racing, I've played that, and I played IndyCar Racing 2. But there's another one, Indianapolis 500 The Race, I think it's called, by Papyrus Software. That is the other great, shall we say, early title in terms of car realism and the ability to drive. And I have to say, this has just sucked me right in, so it has. I'm completely enamored with this. And it's a case of, you know, I did a video about this recently, or I'm in the process of making one, it will be made eventually, where I looked at certain Formula One games, and it was like, the more real that they made it, the more sort of sense of disconnect there was from a player. You know, it was weird, because you reach a point where you're like, the brain is like, right, okay, that's realistic. And then they're like, right, well, what do we do now? We've already got realism. And they add little bells and whistles. And these bells and whistles that they're adding is actually detracting from what the goal should be. And Grand Prix Circuit understands that exactly. So there we go. We finished second. That wasn't too bad, considering that we were, 7th place? Oh, look at that. We got a little podium. There's Lawnie in 2nd place. I'm always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But at least we beat Don Matrelli. And we're celebrating with some champagne. That's nice. Obviously, we're nowhere near the fastest lap time. So let's try a championship circuit with our Williams machine. And we'll see where that takes us. Okay, track winner, standings. Okay, so in this case, you have no opportunity to choose the track. The tracks are laid out for you, and you're like, right, here we go. And you've got the Formula One point system of 1987 or 88 or so. Okay, and you have the option to save and load a game with the function keys. So enter to continue, and we'll do a little qualification lap of Brazil. Should be easy enough, right? But yes, as I was saying before, if you were to look at this, you know, just on YouTube or something, without any nostalgia, you'd be like, that's not that great. I mean, I can see what they're going for, but the PC speaker engine, the graphics, the limited frame rate, blah 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 blah. But when you actually get playing it, it does something to your brain. It's hard to define. It's like you're just in the game. Because unlike so many of the later Formula One games, there's so little between you and the car. The PC speaker is very good at explaining to your brain, right, this is what the engine's doing, this is what gear you're in, this is the acceleration, you know? It's very, very difficult to not sound like I'm being, you know, horribly biased in its favour. But I find with a lot of games, a lot of modern games, that they feel the need to differentiate themselves with little bells and whistles and additional things. Okay, well that was a good qualification lap for a man who wasn't paying much attention. Only Bruno Gordo got higher than me. Damn you, Gordo! So, if we can pass him quickly, we'll be okay. I don't think we will, though. I think it'll be like most Formula One games. Yes, there he goes! A damn Gordo. Oh, I bumped him. Whoops. Wasn't meant to bump him. I just want to pass him. I can beat him in the straight, though, because I have the ability to recklessly corner. Aha! Eat my dust, Gordo! This sounds like a slur of some sort, doesn't it? No! It's just your surname, Gordo. Lends itself to being insulting, but he's right on my tail, as you can see in the mirrors, which is a nice little touch. So you're not just driving in isolation, looking at a track or whatever, you're also able to look in the mirrors and say, hey, there's somebody on my tail here. And I think so much of what this game did is just taken for granted. But I need to stress, this is 1988. PC speaker, EGA graphics, you know. At this point, people were playing Might and Magic 2 on their IBM PCs, you know. It's hard to put into words. The whole multimedia PC thing was only just starting to kick off. You know, this came out a year after the likes of the VGA graphics adapter, the CD-ROM drive, things like that, you know. It was literally the last sort of, I don't know, gasp of that classic style of, hey, well, we need to stick this game on a floppy disk, you know. It is a shame, I think, that this didn't get some kind of CD-ROM enhanced edition, that they didn't port the later cycles engine, backport it into this. Because it was a thing that a lot of companies did. They'd have CD-ROM enhanced versions. Maybe Don Matrick and Co. looked at this and they said, hey, this is as good as it gets. We cannot improve this. Or maybe they'd just moved on to other projects by that point. Like stunts. Oh, can you imagine this game with the stunts engine? There was a little sort of nod to that. They had the IndyCar. Was it the Porsche Indy March or something it was called? Which sort of gave you a taste of what it would be like. And I have to say that was right up there with Formula 1 Grand Prix. And of course, it's worth mentioning Formula 1 Grand Prix came out, I think, 2 or 3 years later. So the first of the Jeff Crammond Grand Prix titles came out years after this. And you're probably thinking, wait, you did an awful lot of specification there. And I did, because Jeff Crammond did, Formula 3 and stuff like that. Anyway, you can look that all up. But they were quite similar in many respects. And also worth looking up, if you get the chance, is Donald Matrick himself. Because in terms of wealthy individuals who were, initially programming DOS games, Don Matrick is up there. Ridiculous career. Maybe I should look up, see if he's written a biography or anything like that. Fascinating. He's even been on television. Just randomly on a game show. When he was younger. But obviously he was on television later. Because this man went on to head the Xbox project. Among other things. And EA, they took a look at what Distinctive Software was doing. They were like, yep, we want a piece of that. But it was more sort of considered a merger than anything else. And there we go. Look at that. Lawnie, number 34, 9 points on Brazil. And you know what? I'm going to play a little longer. Hey, look at that. I got a high score. Oh, this is all working out quite nicely. And I'm the only person to do it in the Williams. Look at all those other names in their dirty McLarens. Sorry, McLaren fans. Well, that is excellent. So I have 9 points there for the first place finish. And Bruno Gurdo ate my dust there. Okay, let's have a look at Monaco. Because as certain Formula 1 fans know, that is... let's just say Monaco's a little different. You can look up later Formula 1 games or even, some actual Formula 1 footage to see what Monaco looks like. And obviously, the engine can't do it justice. It can't. But that's okay. What it can do is it can do the corners justice. Oh. Monaco is notorious for two things. The ridiculous corners and the tunnel. Look at that! We've got ourselves a tunnel! Oh, well done, Grand Prix circuit. Nice. It was able to do a tunnel. I feel like patting it on the head and saying, well done! Yeah, there's a particular tunnel bit where they can reach ridiculous speeds. And then there's large sections of Monaco, which is just like extreme cornering. And it's all like in a city. It's not like out in some distant track or anything. So 1 minute 13, it puts me third. It's acceptable, but Tony Borlini has snuck ahead of me there. And there's my arch rival, Bruno Gordo. Will he get the last laugh? Well, folks, I'm not sure we'll actually know let's just do the quick start. See if I can get past these two. Oh, I tell you what I could do. Let's end it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What do you mean end it, Lawnie? I can do this. Oh no! Disaster strikes as Lawnie takes out Tony Borlini, and DNF means did not finish. So Bruno Gordo gets his revenge and gets his 9 points. But Lawnie took out Borlini, and there would be a disciplinary over that, I'm sure. No safety car, that's for sure. So you have the option to save or whatever. But let's just head back to the menu because that is 20 minutes. That felt like nothing to me. What is Grand Prix Circuit? Grand Prix Circuit is one of the best 80s racing games out there. It's one of the best Grand Prix games for its time. But the asterisk at the end of the name where I say for its time does apply. You need to be okay with the reduced frame rate, you need to be okay with the PC speaker engine, and you need to be okay with the limited EGA graphics. If you can get around those, then there's a fantastic Formula 1 racing game here for those people who do like that late 80s aesthetic. Unfortunately, there was another certain somebody in the DOS gaming sphere who came along and said, yep, Grand Prix Circuit, that looks quite nice. I'm going to show you how to really do it. And I've already raced with that game. I think it was in episode 100 or so. Jeff Cramman's Grand Prix, or World Circuit to you Americans. But for 1988, this is an excellent achievement. Don Matrick did some excellent stuff. Brad Gourd helped, obviously. Maybe he did the most, and Don just sort of sat there being like, yes, Formula 1 cars. So yeah, great stuff. Would recommend. And if you like me talking about random DOS games, I do it all the time. Feel free to take a look at all the other videos on my channel, and if you like what you see there, you can always subscribe. And if you're racing to hit the like button, then you might be one of my wonderful Patreon folk. Look at those great names. They could outlap me easy peasy. So yeah, fantastic racer. Really enjoyed myself, and hopefully some of you will as well. It lives up to the hype. Until next time.